This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. We got the Indiana Fever. That's right. They fall again to the Las Vegas Aces, 78-74. It was a game that had a lot of twists and turns. The fans enjoyed it, but the Indiana Fever did not get it done back-to-back nights. And we're going to break it down for you and see if we can get you back on track with the Indiana Fever. You know, it was an interesting game. It wasn't one that you would really look at and say, well, how did the Indiana Fever do? Did they play good? They play bad? I mean,
I got two for you. The first one, that's the only team that you guys won't have taken down this season. What specifically about Vegas was so tricky for you guys?
I think the other night it was we just couldn't put the ball in the hole. And I think tonight, you know, you hold Vegas to 78 points. You keep them under 20 for 3 of the 4 quarters. You know, honestly, you know, we missed 9 free throws at home. Like, we battled. I just keep telling them, like, we're right there, and they have to believe it. But we just got to make sure we take care of business with things that you have to do. I mean, I think they only had 1 offensive rebound all night. I mean, we did some of the things that that hurt us the other night, but, you know, you got to get to that free throw line and make those free throws.
And they played all over the place. You know, it was a lot of twists and turns in the night's game, but the Indiana Fever couldn't get it done. They couldn't come back. They couldn't overcome the free throw misses that they have. So what's the tail of the tape? Let's go to the box score. And let's see what the box score tells us tonight. I always can find out if I got a win or a loss. So how did we lose the ball game? The Indiana Fever, again, they fall 78-74. But you want to look at this collectively. You got Caitlin Clark. What did she do? 7 of 18, 2 of 8. 2 of 4 coming in there from the free throw line. Finished with 18 points, 6 turnovers. Okay, 9 assists, 8 rebounds. Okay. Finish the game at a 0. Okay, you lose by 4. You played a little better than that.
Double bake so much. What does that kind of front court size, their ability to spread it out with that group, really do to stress your defense? And why do you think it was such a challenge this whole season, really?
I mean, I thought they tossed a lot of different lineups at us. I think at times, whether they went small with Clark at the 4 or whether they went big with Stokes at the 4, I thought we could have done a better job of getting some high lows, especially when Clark was playing at the 4. But I don't know. I think moving the ball a little bit better. Obviously, like, we struggled to shoot it again very well. I mean, I thought we played really good defense and put ourselves in a position to win the game. Missing 9 free throws really hurts us. So I think we could have done a little bit better job adjusting and trying to exploit the certain things that you can, whether they're giving us a small lineup or a bigger lineup.
Lexi Hall got on the court, played 35 minutes, finished up a -5. I mean, Lexi just is out there just giving us all she got on the defensive end and trying to make it work. Kelsey Mitchell carried it in the first half, really had to carry it, pick it up and get it back on track. She played 35 minutes, finished with 20 points, -10.
Tony, you want to start?
Recording in progress.
Kelsey, that Vegas team's going to be the only group you guys don't take down this year. What was it about them that was such a tricky matchup throughout the year?
They are interchangeable. An interchangeable group. I think, you know, they are at least 8 that could play 1 through 4 in different positions. And, you know, down the stretch of being a pro, you learn how to deal with situations like that. And, you know, we fell short of trying to get that done.
But you look further, you got Boston, gives you 30 minutes, 6 of 10. 0-2 from the three-point line, gets 8 rebounds, 2 assists. Finish out -3. Nia Smith -9. That one there, 28 minutes. Dantes comes in there +1, gives you 11. Finbinier, 13 minutes. And, you know, you're looking at it. But to Caitlin Clark. And, you know, with Caitlin, here's the thing with Caitlin that, and like I said, when you do these translations or you hear me communicate with you or hear me speak, they got about 25, 50 people that watch out for this. So it's going to get back. The deal that Caitlin's got to really going to have to understand, you don't have to score in the immediate. It's not an immediate urgency for Caitlin Clark to score.
Go Jacob, then Matt. Caitlin, all your points coming in the second half tonight. Was there any sort of adjustment you made at halftime to kind of lead to that turnaround?
No. I mean, it was definitely a tough first half, but I think just, reset, go in the locker room, reset, and honestly proud of myself for how I finished, put together a decent game. Obviously would have liked to see a couple more shots go down and make a couple more free throws, but I thought I was able to respond and bounce back well, and that's sometimes really hard to do, especially when, you get some tough calls there in the first half that don't go your way, and then, the ball wasn't really rolling my way either to start the game. So proud of myself and proud of our team. I thought we were resilient. There was a lot of things that just didn't go our way. So, but overall, I think we kind of did it to ourselves. I'm proud, like I said, I'm proud of our defense, but there was just areas where we could have, executed a little bit better than made free throws as well.
And that's all part of it. Now let's get to the issue that everybody wants to talk about. Caitlin's got another technical. She got another technical tonight, and she slapped on the base of the basket. And what it is, the referees, the officials, WNBA officials, they think of it as a classless act. You're showing us up. You got us out here, and you're making a fool about us by telling us we missed the call. Now,
go Chloe, then we'll go Christine.
Yeah, Caitlin mentioned, she knows hitting the stanchion is, a tech, but it's still tough that she got it in the first quarter. Just what kind of conversation did you have with her about that when she was on the bench?
I'm sorry, the first part of that question was what kind of?
Oh, hitting the stanchion, she knows it's like a tech, but, it's still tough.
Yeah, we've just got to make sure that we don't let outside things that we have no control over, affect us, especially early in the game. I think she got fouled and missed those 2 free throws, and then, got frustrated with the officiating at times. But, that's where we've got to be better, and we've got to, handle those things. It's not going to be perfect. Those guys aren't going to be perfect. We're not perfect. But I think we lost some time with, with that frustration. So that's just something we're talking about. We're growing. And then after that, she came out in the second half and was, she let it go, and she was a different player. And that's, just can't have that first quarter lapse like that.
Go, Chris.
That is the possibility of truth. That is correct. Now, when you get to that level of Caitlin reached tonight, because here's the deal, Caitlin didn't score in the first half, okay? And that's called pressing. That's pressing. And when you look at it, the Indiana Fever, okay, if you look at the box and you look at what did they do or how did they get in there, and you got to really understand Christie's sides, because when you understand Christie's sides, it really all has to make sense, and some of it doesn't make sense to me. With Christie's sides, and Christie's sides has got to develop quickly. I mean, you're going against Becky Hammon, and Becky's just going to dial you up and treat you bad. And there is no love lost comes out of Becky Hammon. Now, last game, the bench scored 30 points. Okay, the bench scored 30 points. What did their bench do for them tonight? Okay, the bench went in there tonight. They only had 12 points. Okay, so you held Hayes. I tell you, the key to the ace is you got to contain Hayes. I'll tell you, you contain Hayes, you contain that bench. Okay, there's no doubt about it. But let's go up there and let's look at the 300 monster. And I look at this to say, okay, where did they win the game? Where did they lose the game? I got a 3-headed monster gets me 51 points tonight off the Las Vegas Aces. Okay, so here's the deal. You got Gray get you 21, you got Plum get you 18, and you got Jackie Young get you 12, right? So you fall back and you go to 3-headed monster of the Indiana Fever, okay, because they got to match that up. Okay, they got 51, and you come here, you got Kelsey Mitchell gets 20, Lexi Hull gets 2, and you got Caitlin Clark bounces in there and gets you 18. So they lost the 3-headed monster battle.
Is there anything specific you'd like to see or iron out in these last 2 games to feel fully ready for the postseason?
Yeah, I feel like we come out of the half and I don't know what we need to do to get off to a better start. That's the second time I've had to call a timeout. I think they went on a 5-0 run, and I just took it real quick, and then I think we held them to 12 points after that. I mean, those are just things that, that's what good teams do. You don't have a lull to come out of the half. It's the first 3 minutes. You have to play it like it's the last 3 minutes of the game to start that momentum.
There's no doubt about it, 51-40. Now, when you get in there and Lexi Hull couldn't get it going. I mean, your legs and everything, you got to guard. You got to think about it. You got Chelsea Gray, one of the best in the business. Okay, you talk about Williams, you talk about Chelsea Gray, and you talk about Caitlin Clark. Now, Caitlin Clark's one of the best in the business. Now, let me tell you what I saw tonight that I hadn't seen. Caitlin got, I'll just tell it to you, she got pissed off. Caitlin got pissed off tonight and went into a zone and a bag of moves we haven't seen all season long. All season long. If there's anything Christie Sides can do is take a look at what Caitlin did in the second half and pressure her to do that again and again and again. Because she got in a zone and she got frustrated. She got upset. Okay, she had a goose egg, okay, in the first half. So you're talking about a person coming back in 18 in the second, okay? I mean, really frustrated with the officials.
Jacob and Chloe.
You kind of alluded to this with the missed free throws, but Kelsey and Caitlin both kind of had a sense of letting this one get away or kind of shooting yourselves in the foot. Is that a sense that you have after tonight?
Yeah, I mean, Vegas is one of the best teams in this league, and we held them to 78 points. And, our defense keeps getting better, but we've got to just make sure. We did have a couple defensive breakdowns late where we didn't get out to, I know, Kelsey Plum late in the corner. We just have to do a little bit, better job communicating. But we got to make sure that we're taking the best shot for our team. We had some great high-low looks during the game, especially when they had Clark at the 4. We just got to make sure we always talk about getting that advantage. That advantage is mismatches at times. We have to make sure we take advantage of those.
Whoever. You got to run that offense through. You got to run it through we call it run it through the washing machine. You got to run that offense through the washing machine. You cannot allow Caitlin to give an entry, okay, and advance it. Now you're going to down screen run through. You got to keep working that offense, and you should be able to work it for the whole 24-second clock. And you should get about 4 options out of that. 4 options out of that offense. Okay, if the Fever are going to go and play playoff basketball, they got to get through the offense. They're getting better. There's no doubt about it. Boston is in there battling it up, okay? But for Caitlin, number one, you got to get to know the officials, okay? There's no doubt about that. You got to get to know them. You got to get them on a first-name basis, and you got to talk to them because this isn't college anymore, okay? Nobody's going Mr. Official or Coach. Everybody in the league's on a first-name basis, so if you get in there and you don't like it, even with Dick Pavetta, I mean, you'd be in there with Dick Pavetta. He was just a hilarious old official. But you get in there and you call Dick crazy. Dick, are you crazy? Bobby Knight call him by name. And you get more that you can go with if you get a relationship going. Caitlin's going to have to do that because, this thing of throwing your hands up every time you get a call you don't like, that's really, showing up the official, okay?
Christine, then Alexa.
Christie, following up on that, at halftime, is there any conversation with her? Do you see a change? Because you're right. I mean, she comes out and is, just as you said, her old self, incredible. Almost, I guess she didn't quite have a double-double, as it turns out, but
I think she did, didn't she?
Well, apparently they took away an assist, according to our expert over here.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, it was a double-double or close, and played great, right? Well, can you kind of walk us through that? I mean, is there any conversation at halftime, or does she kind of self-reset, or is there a little combination of both? Thanks.
Yeah, I think it's both for sure. I think we talked about, just that first quarter, and we can't let that affect us so much. The officials let me handle the officials. And then I know she had a conversation. Jesse Miller is her coach that she spends a lot of time with watching video. I know they had a conversation, and then I talked to her right before we started. I mean, she just needed a reset. I mean, she's just passionate. She's competitive. She's just got to be able to move on to that next play.
If you do that, they've had meetings, they've talked, they're going to let this game go, and you're just going to have to grow up. Now, so you're not a rookie anymore, and a couple more games, the whole rookie year is over, and you go to the playoffs. But you got the Connecticut Sun staring you down the barrel. Okay, you got the Connecticut Sun staring you down the barrel. You got to control and contain some of this, and Christie Sides has got to just let us know what direction you're going to go. And, you get Christie Sides taking the podium, and I'm telling you, if I can't get Christie Sides, they are Indiana Fever, the team needs to put up some money and just pay Christie Sides off to take a technical. Because it's tired of you telling us, let me worry about the official. You're not doing anything. You're not doing anything. You know what? Get kicked out of a game and turn it over to your assistant coaches, okay? Because you're not gonna whip, okay, some of this that you're going against. And I'm gonna tell you right now, you're not gonna whip. There ain't no way, okay? I'll be honest. There's no way you're gonna whip Becky Hammon, okay? I'm just being honest with you. There is no way you're gonna whip Becky Hammon. Why? Why you can't whip Becky Hammon? Because Becky went through this thing undrafted, was a player, was hard nosed. And I'm going to tell you, spent time in the San Antonio Spurs organization. Folks, if you get to Greg Popovich, okay, you get the Pops, okay, this guy, you wouldn't even notice him. I mean, you wouldn't even notice if you saw him, but this guy is a walking basketball genius that mentored Becky Hammon. So every single play, every single step Becky Hammon takes, she's already been educated on it. Okay, so it's almost a David and Goliath when it comes to coaching. Okay, and Becky keeps running these things at you, different sets, got you moving in different directions, got you taking away things that you like to do that you don't get to do. It's figured out how to take away Caitlin's shot. I mean, all this thing. I mean, let's be honest. She could say, Greg, what are you doing? You watching film? No. You watch a couple games and tell me what I need to do. When you got that kind of access, okay, folks, you talk about that's the kind of access Becky Hammon's got. I mean, here's the deal. Christie Sides got to understand is, one time Greg got himself kicked out of the ball game. You know what? I got an assistant coach named Becky Hammon. It's a female coach in the WNBA. You know what? He went out there early, got banged out. Bang, bang, Becky, take the team. Okay? And that's what a coach has to do. You got to stand up for your players. Okay? And that's something that Christie Sides is afraid to do, okay? I don't even think she's ever been kicked out of a game in her life, so this will be a total different experience. But when you're staring down the barrel of the gun, okay, the barrel of the gun is Becky Hammon, okay, you're gonna have to get in there, and you're gonna have to really fight for your team. Now,
Alexa, go ahead.
Christie, you've mentioned kind of a few different things that would apply here, but what is your message, I guess, to the team after a game like this or after the last two about kind of the gap between, the teams like Vegas that obviously they're gold standard, won 2 championships, and you guys, where you guys are right there, but what it kind of takes to get over the hump and beat a team as good as them? Yeah, I mean, that was my first, when I walked in the locker room, they have to know that we're there. Like we've worked our asses off to get to where we are, just being consistent with their effort daily since we got here. It just has been getting better ever since on both ends of the floor. And when we played Vegas early, we weren't there, and they got us. But right now, they've got to really believe that we are there with those guys. And I think they do. And now we just have to find ways to not have those lulls that we're having. The first quarter, start of the third quarter, we just can't have those. If you're going to, that was playoff basketball out there tonight. And you've got to make sure that, you are not giving them any opportunity to take any advantage of times where, you're frustrated or, it's just not going our way and we take several possessions off. You just can't do that with these great teams.
Boy, the Indiana Fever did a great job tonight of growing up. Okay, Caitlin Clark did a great job in the second half of getting pissed off. Okay, and doing moves we haven't seen her do all year. Okay, but she wanted it so bad. She wanted it. She could taste it, right? So when you get a situation like that the Indiana Fever have grown up, they're getting better. They're getting better of playing physical basketball. And they're not getting better at the game of basketball. They're getting better to becoming physical. Minnesota's going to treat you like a stepchild. Connecticut's going to walk in there and treat you like a stepchild, okay? The Las Vegas Aces are going to treat you like a stepchild. You are the stepchild of the WNBA. You're not even supposed to be here, Indiana Fever, let alone be competing in a playoff game. Now, what you got next? Okay, you bounce out of this. You got a couple more games and the next game is going to be an emotional letdown. That's going to be an emotional letdown because there's no way you can get up if your playoff position's not changing. best thing Christie Sides could do is start doing load management, get them off their legs, and get ready for Connecticut.
Go last two, Brad, then Brian on the right.
Christie, a little more kind of about the playoff conversation. 2 losses here, but can you take some from the collective of these 80 minutes that you learn about when you get to that in a couple weeks to say, okay, when we're in a playoff setting and we need a W on the road, we can do X, Y, Z better than we did this week?
Yeah, I mean, it's the execution. It's the bounce back from the frustration. I think we took what we did against them the other night and learned from it and totally fixed some of the things that really helped us, especially on the defensive end. Again, making 9 free throws changes this game, or, just making a few of those, not even all 9. When you're at home, though, you've got to put the ball in the hole from the free throw line. And but we will take something from this. We made it like a playoff series, So right now we're going home because we just lost 2 games. So we've got to regroup, figure out what we can do to get better, get ready for Dallas. Players are playing a lot of minutes. We've got to make sure we get them some rest and get what they need so we're ready to go on Sunday.
Caitlin Clark's got another drill down. She's got to go play, and that's Dejanay Carrington. I mean, that one there, try to get in your head more than anyone in the league. I mean, she's going to do all kind of crappy stuff. I mean, all kind of stuff can go down. But the Indiana Fever have got to figure out, okay, where are they at and not get so emotional, okay? And I say emotional. That's what I mean by emotional right here. You call it Christie Side, she'll tell you got to make free throws. That's emotion. That's just emotion for them to go to the line 11 and 20. Now, here's where Caitlin Clark's got to realize, okay, Caitlin, come on. Okay, we can't have you going to the line going 0-2 because you're upset, okay? And Caitlin gets upset a lot. Her dad talked about it for a long time, and here's the deal that can happen. And there's enough medical professionals in the world that can kind of put a science or relationship to this and really answer the question or put it in the comments. With all the emotion that Caitlin Clark does, okay, being upset at officials or calls or situations, how much energy is being taken away from the game? Okay, and that's where Caitlin's you got to be mentally tough. I tell you what, to play in the WNBA, you got to be mentally tough. To be a point guard in the WNBA, you got to be extremely mentally tough. And to be a point guard on the Indiana Fever, it's us against the world. You got to be so mentally tough and resilient that nothing can bother your concentration. You're locked in. You're locked in.
Matt and Alexa.
Yeah, Caitlin, last time you hit the base of the basket,
That's crazy.
The ref told you it was disrespectful. Was just wondering if you got another explanation tonight.
Well, I mean, they're never going to overturn that. It's just one of the rules, I guess, of the game. So it's in the rule book. It is what it is. That's why, I mean, I tried to get my last one taken away. They just didn't take it away. And it stinks because I feel like at half of my technicals this year, I got 1 for the inadvertent contact to the face in the Minnesota game and then 2 for hitting the stanchion of the basket. So it's like 1 was a complete accident and then the other 2 were just a little frustration with myself. So I think I could have done a better job keeping my emotions in check, but at the same time, like, really? So I don't know. I mean, but it is a rule, so they have to call it, and I get it. It's tough.
And that's something that to become a champion in the WNBA, the Indiana Fever, they have the personnel. It's whether or not the horse trainer, and this goes back to Christie, because you got to look at Becky Hammon. And I told you about Becky. Becky's got her horses in line. Okay, that's good horse trade. I told you Don Staley's a good horse trader. Gets those horses in line. The coach's job is to get the players prepared to play, okay, to get them to do things they're comfortable doing. Don't put them in game situations they're not comfortable doing. If you can tell me that Aaliyah Boston, which she almost made the shot, I think she shoots it better, you got to have her lining up for threes all game long, but you send her over there to take that shot, the game winner, and then come out of the press conference and say, I was comfortable with it. Christie Sides, come on, man. We have to do better at the job that we're required to do.
Brian, last one.
You had a chance to tie there with 30 seconds left, and Aaliyah took the shot. Could you talk us through that possession and what you were looking for in that play?
Yeah, people know it's going to be really hard to get Caitlin a shot in those possessions. Like, we want to make sure, like, she, you know, between her and Kelsey, you give them both options. In that play that we ran, they had a pin and they had a hammer action on the weak side. And they're going to take away something, so you just have to be ready. And AB came to me right before, and she said, Coach, do you want me to spread out to the corner three? I said, be ready, because they're going to take that shooter away. And it was a great shot. It rimmed in and out. I mean, that was a great shot. This girl has gone and worked really hard on that part of the game. I have a lot of confidence in her to take that shot. I mean, teams are going to scheme against Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell. They're going to do everything they can to make somebody else take that three. So it's just on us. You know, got to find a way to get the ball in their hands and let them take it. But I was so okay with that wide open three by Leah Boston right there.
Here's the deal. Game 1 back in May. We go back to May 25th, right? The Fever play the Aces in Las Vegas. They lose 99-80. Okay, you go to Game 2. Okay, the Fever play the Aces again. They lose 88-69. Okay. Now the Fever, Game 3, they play the Aces again. Okay, now you're talking about 86-75. If you notice, the gap's closing, and here it is. You play the Fever again, okay, tonight, and you come out there 78-74. So the gap's closing.
Maddie, then we'll go Lou.
How do you think in a game like this, how do you stay mentally sharp or poised when it feels really back and forth, kind of roller coaster? You're down 13 at one point, you come back and tie it.
Yeah. I think for one, you got to be a competitor. I think that's just a part of the game. But for two, I think for us, we stay poised enough to get back in the game, and it just goes to show what kind of group you're dealing with. So I can pat ourselves on the back for not giving up. But not giving up is just not enough. So I think we got to just keep going back to the drawing board and putting in more work.
The Indiana Fever used to be the bottom barrel of the league, used to be where you'd go to get a win. Okay, they lost the ball game tonight. That I can accept. Okay, what I can't accept is Christie Sides not saying, let me handle the officials, but you're not doing nothing but jumping up and down on the sideline, and you're not questioning any officials. So there's no fear factor in you, and you have to have the ability with Becky Hammon, and you guys saw it tonight. I mean, you want to talk about here, you want to change the game, Becky Hammon changed the game. Okay, let me tell you why Becky Hammon's going to change that game on you, because Becky Hammon went to that official tonight, okay, and let me tell you what, she told them they got the call wrong and got the call changed, okay? This side, you got to dig down deep and be a pro coach. I repeat, the coaches that you're going up against, it's not the players, okay? Here's the deal, folks. I'm going to put it to you straight up. Some will agree and some won't. It's not the players, okay? It's not the players of the Indiana Fever and going into this and why they're not winning the game. It's the pedigree, okay, of the coaching. Okay, so you got to go look at who you're going to go up. You're going to go up against Reeves. You got Noel. Okay, you got to look at some of the coaches that you going up against. When you go head-to-head and you're the horse trainer, you got to win that doggone ball game. And I'm going to tell you what, we don't have the coaching experience to go up in there and outduel some of these teams and have situational basketball, game-time adjustments at the right time.
No, Matt and Maddie.
Yeah, Kelsey, on Wednesday, you were saying that as a leader that you needed to, sort of help the group bring the confidence. Tonight was closer.
Yeah.
You didn't get the result, but do you think that you brought that confidence enough to win?
I think so. I think that it came down to a little bit more logistics. For us, it's about, we experienced something that we haven't experienced before tonight, and I think that, we could utilize it as fuel for the playoffs, but I think that this was a good, step in the right direction considering what history says about us and playing Vegas. I think we made a lot of great steps today.
This is not a game, folks. This is just like the NBA, and I'll tell you what, if you don't have the physical presence to play in the WNBA, I repeat, if you don't have the physical presence and the Indiana Fever have that physical presence to get in there and battle this game out. Okay, battle it out. You're talking about we held them to 78 points. That's an excuse that you need to get off your shoulder and get on with life, because here's what you got. You took 62 shots. They took 70. Okay, they shot 40%. You shot 45%. From coming in there from the three-point line, you launched it up 30 times. You shot it out there 30%. They matched you 30%. You see where I'm going here, folks? They shot the ball. We got 55% at the free throw line. They get 72%. Really, what does that equate to? It doesn't equate to much, because you made 11 and then they made 13, okay? Here's the deal. You can walk down this and you can keep searching until you find it. And when you find it, you're going to know. Now, what happened? They got 22 assists and we got 17. That's the deal. They got a couple blocks. And when you look at the bench, when we shut down their bench, the starters just exploded.
And then just going up against Vegas, obviously they're kind of the gold standard, having won the last 2 championships. What do you feel like this group has learned about what it takes to go up against a team like that, and you know, the small details that might matter to try to beat them?
Yeah, I think we have moments where we're really good, and then we have moments where we, you know, have some lapses. Like, to beat a team like this, I feel like we said this so much this year, like, we can't have Christie calling a timeout right to start the third quarter. Like, that's something that just can't happen for us, and I feel like that's happened so much this year to start the second half, is like having to use a quick timeout because they go on a 5-0 run or 6-0 run or something like that. So I think we clean up that area, but at the same time, I think it should provide us some confidence. You know, every single time we've played this team, we've gotten better and better and closer, and to see how far we've come from where we first started. I think it was our 7th or 6th game of the year, and I think we gave up 99 points and lost by about 20. So, and now I felt like we were really in this game, and, you know, we convert a few more times and convert our free throws. You know, hopefully we're walking away with a win.
You know what? Here's the biggest thing I'll tell you. Christie's side's got to have a 2 option. She's got to have 2 guard option, or 2 got to have a guard, because you can't. Here's the deal: what you can't do. And there's not a professional team ever going to let you just give the ball to Caden Clark every single time. You got to have a second player in the wing. You can do a 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. Okay, you can run it as a 0.5. I mean, really, but the only 0.5 probably be Boston. I haven't seen her ball in still. So you got to go to 0.4. You got to find, I think it's Lexi Hall. You got to have somebody take the pressure off so you can go ahead and get the ball in. And you can't have Caitlin run every one. And I'll be honest with you about another thing. Caden Clark, not a shooter. She hasn't been allowed to be a shooter in the WNBA this year. And I repeat, Caden Clark hasn't allowed to be a shooter in the WNBA. Playing for the Indiana Fever, what you have Caden Clark is doing is being a shot maker. Being a shot maker, right? Because the shots that Caitlin take are super hard. I mean, if you were playing on any other team, it'd probably be ill-advised shots, okay? Now, what does that do? You get a player that you got doing that, you let her play that way. Now you got to take pressure off, and you got to run that offense through, because I'd really like to see Caden Clark take a shot with the shot clock winding up, catching the pass 5 seconds ago, and does a quick move, gets the shot up. Because the way you're doing it now, it doesn't make sense, and you're asking her to go in there and be a shot maker, okay? A shot maker, and here's the deal. You know, you got it in there 2 for 8 tonight, so what does that equate to? That's 3 for 18 in the 2-game series, right? 3 for 18 from the three-point line. So if you want Caitlin to do as well as you want Caitlin to do at three-point line, you got to run that thing through, and she's got to relocate and exchange. Relocate and exchange. Okay, you can't send the pass in, stand stagnant. Okay, relocate means you swing on through. Exchange mean if you got the play there and you're on the wing, you're not getting the ball, go exchange with the corner, exchange, or go cross-court exchange there. I mean, there's a bunch of exchanges, and that's really all that ever happens in the offense. Exchange, relocate. Christie Sides, that's not good coaching. Okay, you got a guard who's a shot maker and not a shooter. She's really the shooter, but to play for the Indiana Fever, she has to be a shot maker. She went over to New York Liberty. She wouldn't have to do that. She went over to the Aces. She wouldn't have to do that. Goes over to Connecticut Sun. You don't have to do that. You go over to the Minnesota Lynx. She doesn't have to do it. To be a shot maker, okay? These guys get points in the offense. And that just tells me that the pedigree that you're dealing with is a huge difference. Now, who am I going to give some kudos to, who really has just stepped in? I'm going to give some kudos to Aaliyah Boston, okay? Because every night that Boston goes in there, and she knows it, she's from UConn, She had enough of Asia Wilson. Finally had enough. Okay. And I've had enough of you, and I'm going to take you on like you're going to take me on, like she said. Bop, bop, bop. I'm going to bop you back just like you bop me. Sign the play, Christie side. You give it to Boston. You tell us you're very comfortable in the press conference doing that. Now we got to find out if you're so comfortable that we need to see Boston shoot those shots in the playoffs, because you never want to put players in a position that they're not even used to being in, not even in practice. But this is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. We're powered up by Fanatics. Only thing I can tell you, I like what I saw. I do not like the excuses. And I'm going to tell you this, Christie Side's got to tune up, because the coaches you're going against, man, oh, man, I'm going to tell you, finally tonight, she finally said, you know, oh, well, we didn't do our best. She didn't praise them as much as she'd been praising. But here's the thing. I would rather see Christie Sides come out of that press conference like a pro coach and go, the next time we see Las Vegas, we'll beat them. If we see them in Las Vegas, we'll beat them in the playoffs. I guarantee it. That puts pressure on your team. Makes your team check themselves. Makes your team stand up and say, what? Did you guys see Coach tonight? Because, see, the coaches after the game, the coaches are going to meet, the players are going to meet, everybody's going to get something to eat and whatever, talk about the game all night long, right? They'll be in there like, man, did you see Christie tonight take that field, get double-teched, that got thrown out on national TV? They would breathe the fire from that, okay? But you can't be there when the Fever are trying to get hot on the court. And Christie Side, you say, let me take care of the refs, but you carrying around a water hose. And the water hose is cooling off your team. You got to get pumped up and know how to direct that. And you say, lead the officials to you. That means you're going to do something about it. But Christie Side, she's out there dying on the vine, and you're not doing anything. You got to get banged out for a technical, kicked out of the game. You got to do something. And we'll walk into the playoffs. That's what's going to happen. The Indiana Fever, you know what the Aces are like. You know what the Lakes are like. You know what all these teams are like. There's a couple of sleepers at the bottom, and you got Washington and Atlanta. One of those get in. Either one of those can give you a problem. But they're going to face the Liberty. Number one plays 8-2-7-3-6, and we walk down the championship road of the WNBA, which is fantastic. I repeat, WNBA is fantastic. And this is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. We thank you for joining us. And, you know, the Indiana Fever are doing what they need to do. They're getting it to where they need to get it. And at the end of the day, you just got to ask yourself, where's it start and where's it all end? It's the Indiana Fever. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. We want to thank you for joining, and we'll see you soon. But all things are possible to those who believe in the Indiana Fever. Caitlin Clark getting ready for the playoffs. We'll see you soon.